Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to open up and disassemble this Dell Inspiron 15353. So this has a broken screen. We're going to go ahead and open it up. First thing you gotta do is undo the screws from the bottom. Alright, so I believe the corner screws stay in place. Alright, and then we're going to go ahead keep the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. The way I do that is I put them flat side down like that on my desk in the pattern and I remove them. Alright, so I think just the two corners stay in place. I don't know if I might have already recorded this, but well, we're gonna do it again. All right, so let's go ahead and get all the screws out. All right. Either that or this laptop is very familiar or very similar to another one I just worked on recently. Okay. This screw out. Okay. So 6 screws that come out and then the 2 corner ones stay in. All right, next, because it helps pop this up from these screws, we're gonna kind of pull up from there, kind of push down on the cover, pull up on this and push down here, okay? Slide my fingernail in there. You can use plastic pry tools, all right? To do that, go ahead on this side as well, pull it up. If it's stuck, you might have to undo the screw again. Sometimes it twists itself back in, right? So again, pull up and then slide my fingernail down or a pry tool, okay? Get in there. And there we go. Okay, keep pulling up, slide the tool in the back here as well. There's the edge where the two parts meet, and there we go. All right, so now we got this. Oh, it's still kind of stuck. You might have to slide a tool in here as well if it's not coming out. Actually, no. Okay, wiggle, maybe grab here, and then kind of pull this, like that, wiggling it like that. Okay, and there we go. We got the bottom cover off. Okay, I might have already recorded this, but anyways, we'll do it again. Okay, first thing we're gonna do, okay, let me get a screenshot real quick here, so I'll line everything up. Okay, make sure everything is good. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is disconnect the battery and remove it. Okay, actually you don't really need to remove the battery, but we're gonna disconnect the battery. So we'll zoom in here, okay? The battery connector's right there. I use my fingernails and not the wings, just wiggle like this, okay? Keep wiggling and eventually it should pop out just like that. All right, this cable comes out. If you need to remove it, there's a little sliding mechanism here. So you see that silver part? Okay, that slides and then you can pull this out, but I'm gonna leave that attached. Okay, but if you do get a replacement battery, you will have to slide that out and then reattach it. Keep that in mind and then make sure to slide it back, okay? All right, so there we go. All right, this piece comes out obviously. And then you have the model of this battery. G9, hopefully you can see that, G9130, sorry, G91J0, okay? All right, now that we have the battery disconnected, we're gonna carefully open the screen, or yeah, the laptop, and then press and hold the power button for at least 15 seconds, right? This drains any residual power from the computer and makes it a lot safer to work on, all right? So we're gonna hold this for a few more seconds, just to make sure. All right, there we go. We're gonna carefully, slowly close this. The reason why you wanna go slow is because the screws for the hinges are no longer holding. Oops, I keep forgetting it's not zoomed in. All right, so the 2 hinges from the corners here are no longer connected or held in with the thing. Okay, I don't know where this plastic came from. It might be from the bottom cover. Let's double check that real quick. Oh, it's from this middle one. So we're gonna have to try and stick that in there somehow, because if that's missing, then the screw will just kind of fall through and we don't want that to happen. Okay, so we gotta line this thing back up in here, assuming that's where it came from. Actually, did it not come from here? Is there another piece somewhere? I don't think this can go back in actually. So, oh, dropped it. But that piece was like only a small circle, so it's missing a bunch of like the broken plastic that's in there. So, oh, it just fell all over. Okay, anyways, we're gonna have to just put the screw back in there because that thing was all broken. All right, anyways, we're gonna pull the 2 tabs for the RAM aside just like this. You can see it pops up, okay? If it doesn't go all the way, you might have to pull it again, then we can pull it out. The RAM is 8 gigs. It's a PC4 3200AA. You should be okay with any PC4 3200AA RAM. If you want, you can do 2 16 gigs sticks. If they have 32 gigs, you probably should be able to do that as well. All right, you got the CPU here soldered underneath to the motherboard. There's the heat sink. It goes over here. The heat spreader or radiator, fan blows through it. GPU, there isn't one, but it looks like if there was, they would have another piece of like this that sticks down here. Okay. Wireless card, 2 antennas here. Okay. Same thing, 1 screw. Like every other model, you pull up from the tail after you do that. All right, speaker connector here. This you get underneath and you pull this piece up. Make sure you're only pulling up the little part that's in the center. You can see there's actually like a black frame around the edges. That's the connector that's on the motherboard. You don't want to pry that up. You just want to pull this up. You can also kind of grab the cables and then just kind of pull up from there. All right, so 1 speaker here. Then there's the wire that goes along the bottom, connects to the other speaker here. No screws holding it in. You would just lift it up, but it does have these little plastic things that kind of have little hooks that go over. Keyboard connector here. This has a flip latch. You flip that up and then you can pull the connector out. Keyboard backlight connector, but there's no keyboard backlight on this model. Touchpad connector, same thing, flip latch. Okay. There's an M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD here. So there's a screw holding it. It looks like we'd have to switch to a PH0 or JS0 screwdriver to get that. So take that screw out if you want to remove it. This kind of comes up slightly at an angle. Oh, okay, this slides out. It has these little feet that slide under this, and then this pops up. All right, it's a short one. If you use a full length M.2 PCIe NVMe, you actually don't use this bracket, because if you use that, these metal tabs are gonna puncture into that SSD. If you really want to, you might be able to, but you'd have to bend this down somehow. All right, so keep that in mind if you're gonna try and use a long SSD, that you're probably not gonna be able to use this. All right, so I'm gonna get these 2 feet in, slide this back in there, get that lined up again, and then get the screw back in. All right, I'm just gonna show like quickly these components. Not gonna really be taking everything out. Right, you got the fan connector here, same thing, the wings, you wiggle and pull it. All right, this connector goes to the I/O board here, which is the headphone jack or 3.5mm headset jack, USB 3.0, and the SD card slot. Right, some models have fingerprint reader. It looks like there's a little latch here for that. All right, and then what else? You got the LCD LVDS connector. We're gonna have to disconnect that, and then the DC jack charge port connector. To get this out, you do need to at least lift this hinge, take the screws out, and you can lift the hinge up. You'll see we'll take out the hinge, but we're not going to take out the whole thing. We just need to remove the screen. Actually, we also have to take out the wireless card. So let's go ahead and do that now. All right, so I'll zoom in here. First thing we're going to do, disconnect the LCD LVDS connector. Before you mess with this, it's very important that you disconnect the battery, open the laptop, and then press and hold the power button for at least 15 seconds, all right? You want to drain the power from the capacitors and things like that. You don't want the power in there that can fry or short out the connection here. You can fry this connector, you can fry the cable, you can fry the backlight circuit, you can fry the screen, so just do that, all right? Flip that latch up. You can carefully lift this slightly and pull that back. Okay, on this side we have the wireless antenna, so let's actually undo this thing, all right? We'll undo this, oops, switch back to the PH1 or JS1 screwdriver, and I'm gonna hold this thing down so it doesn't twirl around as I undo the screw, and we're gonna take the whole thing and set this aside. Okay, the antenna is black wire going to the black arrow, white wire going to the white arrow. Again, you just hold this down and then pull up on the tails, but to be safe, because sometimes the solder's not good here, I'm actually gonna take the whole wireless card, lift it up. I'm gonna use this edge to help pull it out. Just walk it out like this. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to try and bring the whole thing out. You see it has all this thing to route the wiring, so we've got to follow this. We might actually have to take the speaker cable out because it's in the way, but let's see. Yeah, okay. So let me show you here, the speaker connector here. If you have a small little plastic spudger tool or whatever, you can get under here, but I just use my fingernail, get underneath and kind of wiggle and pull this up. All right, you might have to kind of go more from this side. And there we go. All right, so there's the connector. You want to be careful with that. Don't lose that or break it, okay? So now we have to kind of unthread all this wiring, okay, just to get it out of the way. All right, now we can go ahead and get the wireless card out the rest of the way. Okay, just like that. Follow the little groove route things, just like that. And the last one is kind of stuck. You have to do one wire at a time. Okay, and then the last one over here. So there we go. We'll set that aside. Let's zoom out here. All right, next thing we're gonna have to do, let's see if we can do this without flipping the computer. So what I'm gonna do, we're gonna undo the hinge screws here. Take note of where you took the screws from. There's 2 here and then 2 here. The ones towards the far corners are not gonna have screws, okay? So keep that in mind. All right, so I already took the adhesive out of the laptop so that I could check the laptop model or the LCD model number earlier. So I'll kind of have to explain how the adhesive works. It's a stretch release adhesive. Let me show you an example because I have one here, but not the one from this laptop. I'll have to go get those. But basically the strip is like this, and underneath the screen, it's sandwiched together. And you'll have this little tab that doesn't have an adhesive, and you'll basically stretch this. As this adhesive stretches, it no longer sticks to the screen, and you just got to keep pulling and pulling and pulling. It's just going to keep coming out. You just keep switching hands like this and pulling it, and it will eventually all release. I try and like prevent it from sticking to itself so that way I can reuse it, but you can buy replacement adhesive, or you can just use any double stick adhesive, but don't put too much because then if you ever need to take it out, it's going to be very difficult. All right, anyways, we took all the screws out. I'm going to carefully get it, my fingers in between the screen and the keyboard, hold my thumbs here, and I'm going to push with my fingers out. So while I'm holding it, I'm like pushing down like that. That way I open this slightly. We're going to now let this drop. You can see we now have a gap here. I'm going to now push these up just like that, okay? And you want to push closer to where the hinge like has the connection there. That's where you have the most leverage. Don't try and push from here because then it's just twisting the hinge. You want to push from where this connects to the actual other part. Right, so once you get this up about 90 degrees like that, you can actually flip the laptop keyboard and then get it like that, okay? And there you go. Again, if you want to replace the charge port, it's right in there. You would basically have to kind of pry this up. I don't want to mess with it. There's no screws or anything holding it down, but you can pry this out or pull this cable and then you can pull the whole thing up. All right, we're going to set this aside. Now we have access to the screen assembly. So again, I already took the adhesive out, so this is gonna come out somewhat easier, the screen itself, but for this, you go up here, and I like to basically pull up on the inside and then rotate, push my thumb basically inwards slightly, so basically the clips will unlatch and go inwards, okay? So just like this. Sorry, it's gonna move around, so it's gonna be a little tricky. But there you go, you can see. All right, there is usually some adhesive up here, so same thing, I'm gonna twist it and then kind of push it inwards, okay? So just like that. But again, there is some adhesive, so you wanna kind of take it slow. For me, it's going fast because I've already opened this once, okay? So yeah, all right, and also I know the technique to kind of get it easier. See, you can actually see the crack. Actually, can you see that? There's a crack on that screen there, yep. All right, so that's why we're replacing it. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and go from here. Same thing, pull up. Does this come off separately? I'm not too sure. Okay, since the screen's already broken, let's see, is there, oh, there's a stretch release adhesive here. So we're gonna kind of grab that. Actually, does this stretch? Kind of, not really. Stretches a little. Okay, so basically as you pull this, we're not gonna put this kind of adhesive back, but as you pull this, oops, it usually releases, but I guess not. It's not a completely stretch release adhesive. And this thing might actually have to come off separately here. Let's see. Can I get this out first? So I'm gonna get my fingernail in the little bottom area here and see if I can pop. Okay, yeah, so you can see I popped that out. Okay, and then we gotta pull that this way. So this is the little hinge cover. We're gonna do that on both sides, okay? And take note that the way this comes out, you see how this hinge has a little flat portion? That portion goes towards the bottom of the screen outside, and then the part that just is completely one thing goes in towards the inside of the screen. Okay, so again here, let me actually show you zoomed in here, see if I can show you this, how I pop it out. Okay, so basically, obviously, again, you can use a plastic pry tool. I just use my fingernail. So I get in there. I usually use my thumb because this is weird having to pry it this way, but usually I'll use my thumb and then pop it like that. So basically I'm pulling it that way. Then this comes out and you can just push it out. And there you go. So there's the other hinge piece. We'll set that aside. Okay, let's go ahead and zoom back out again. and continue peeling this thing away. Okay, so we got that. We're gonna continue peeling this up. The screen's all cracked, so you don't really have to worry too much about breaking it, but you don't want to use too much force and then end up breaking this plastic thing. So I'm just sliding my finger in between the plastic part and the adhesive, and that separates this, okay, just like this. If you're trying to keep the screen safe, then you want to use a tool that's very thin, and you can actually use some isopropyl alcohol if you wanted to. It'll help remove it. Some people like to use heat, but I just use isopropyl alcohol a little bit, and that softens the adhesive or dissolves the adhesive a bit and then makes it so you can get it out. All right, so we got the adhesive all out there, and now we just gotta pop this last bit out, get that junk out of here. All right, and here you go. So there is the bezel, okay? We'll set that aside, and here we go. We have access to this. So the stretch release adhesive was actually at the tops here, okay? They had the clear piece. I had to use needle nose pliers, get that out, grab that, and then you basically stretch it. I would usually face it this way. I would pull, then as it stretched, I would grab closer, and then pull the whole thing again, grab closer, pull the whole thing again, grab closer, and keep doing that. And then try and get as close as you can, because when you get to the end, it's gonna snap like a rubber band when you pull it, and there's nothing else holding it. It's just gonna and like snap together, and then it's gonna stick to itself, and then if that happens, you can't reuse it. But anyways, after you peel that out, you can actually tip this forward, and the way I get the screen model number is by looking down here. So you don't have to take the whole bezel out. I can actually, if you just want to check your screen model number, I didn't take the bottom of the bezel. I didn't even take the screen out of the computer. I just unclipped all the top and side edges and then undid the adhesive, and then I pulled it forward like this, and I had to look down all the way into the sticker here to get the screen model number. Anyways, you can see now we can tip this forward because nothing's holding it, okay? So you can see there's a little bit of slack in the cable, but it'll help if you have someone to help you hold this up, or use something to, like a clamp or something, just to hold this so it doesn't fall over while you're gonna work on this. But we have to now disconnect the screen from here. Okay, so we're gonna get this out. I'll show you the model number once I get this separated. Okay, so there's this stuff like that. All right, so if you want a tool that everybody has, you can use like a little paper clip. Get under here, okay, so unfold that. You can see we get between the adhesive part and the connector, and then we're gonna kind of tilt this over to the side. Make sure that you don't poke into the like connector there. This part is just part of the screen, so technically if you damage that, it's not going to matter, but it's always nice to not damage things if you can help it. All right, as you can see, actually this very edge of it doesn't have any adhesive, so you actually don't even need that to get underneath. You just gotta slowly peel this, and I like to kind of walk it, so peel this side, then peel this side, and then just wiggle it like that. And you see we got that out. Let's get that aside. All right, then there's the metal latch there, so you flip that. I just use my fingernail at the corner, my thumbnail, okay, like that. And then once you flip that, go towards the bottom of the clip, and you pull that back. You do that on both sides. Usually I would use 2 hands for that, but there you go. All right, and here's the screen model number. Usually when you look this up, they'll show you different compatible model numbers, but this is NV156FHM-T06, right? So that's the screen model number. We'll zoom out here, okay? And we're gonna do the steps in reverse. So now we have to get the replacement screen out, okay? I'm gonna open this box on camera. I bought this on Amazon, okay? Hopefully this is all good. All right, let's set that aside. So here's the screen, and this one was by Screenorama. All right, again, you don't need to get like a specific brand or something. I just look up the model of the thing and make sure it says it's compatible at least. Sometimes they don't even say it's compatible. They just say that's the model that they're shipping, and then they ship you something else. So make sure to check the connection and everything to make sure it's good. All right, so here we go. This came with tools. I don't use any of these tools. All right, and then we got this, and I don't see adhesive in here, but be careful with this because this does put off a lot of static. So you want to ground yourself if you're messing around with this, okay? bubble wrappy stuff. Okay, you don't want it to get on the inside of the other part of the computer. So here you go, they have some warranty stuff. Oh, they do have adhesive in here, nice. So technically I can use the new ones, or I can go grab the ones that I took out before. I'm gonna get the ones that I took out before just because they're more for this. So you see it'll stick to this metal portion, and then yeah. So here's the back of the screen, and this is NV156FHM-T06, so actually it's the same. All right, I know it's upside down, but there you go. Okay, the printing did look a little faded though. Anyways, well, let me go get the adhesive strips and I'll be back. See you guys in a bit. All right, I'm back. So this is what the adhesive looks like. This one got stuck to itself a little, so I'm gonna try a little experiment here. Let's see if I put a little isopropyl alcohol on it, if I can separate that stick. Okay, we'll see. Because if we can, that'll be nice for... Oh, this one actually tore a little. So to be safe, I'm actually gonna cut the adhesive. I don't wanna have a torn piece of adhesive, because then if we need to take it out, it's gonna just tear even more. So I'm gonna hold it here. I'm gonna cut that piece off. Assuming I can cut it. Let go. Okay. And it should be okay. We don't need the full length of the adhesive. It's just gonna hold the screen from falling out, okay? So now we have this adhesive. Let's go ahead and take this screen out of the way for a bit. Okay, and we're gonna flip this over so it's easier to access. And again, we're gonna get the top here, the non-sticky part up there, okay? And then hold that there, and we'll just have this stretch down here and stick that on, okay? So stick that down. This one has a little extra, okay? Pull that, stick that down. All right, so just like that, make sure the clear part is visible there, okay? We'll get the other one. So this is the other strip that didn't get stuck to itself, okay? And we'll do the same thing, get that all the way up there, hold that in place, and then we'll stick this down, okay? Stick that down. It'll stick down as the screen presses on it, so don't worry if it's not fully sticking down right now. Okay, so here we go. Now we're gonna attach the new screen. Okay, so the new screen's like this. If you want, you can have it hanging over here. Just make sure you have access to it. I like to do it like this if this is in the way. And we'll basically just hold the screen up, pinch the whole thing in. You can hear it click. Okay, you can actually feel it click as well. Then hold the adhesive, flip that latch, click that, and then stick that down. Right, so there we go. Now we got that all into place. Make sure that goes over the hinge, this piece as well. Okay, flip this. We're gonna rotate the whole thing. Be careful not to stick it down yet, okay? And you wanna line up the corners here with the yellow parts here. So I'm gonna get my fingers under here, lift the whole thing so that it's not touching the adhesive. Get the corner into that rubber piece, and then once you get one side in, get the other side, line it up, pull it. Okay, it looks like it's hitting this, so pull that back a little. Slowly lower it down. Make sure none of the cables are getting trapped or caught. Okay, and wait. How does that work? Okay, so I guess this side, because the hinges stick out, we actually need to get the bottom slightly under there first. So that's going to be a little tricky. Get the bottom under. Okay, now while you're still holding it up, get that corner in. Wow, this is going to be tough. Come on. Get that corner in. Okay, and then while you're still holding it, get the other corner in. Oh no, I lifted this out. So you got to pay attention and make sure this goes under. That's tricky. Okay, get that in, and then get that in. Okay, now we can go ahead and push the whole thing down. That's a little tricky. I guess to make it less tricky, you can actually undo the screws and take the hinges out, but all right, it worked fine for me. Hopefully you didn't mess up and then have to peel the whole adhesive out. All right, so this piece, to get it out, you want to actually roll it like this. Don't pull it straight up. You want to roll this. The reason is there's multiple layers in the screen. You don't want it to separate the layers, okay? So roll it like this. Make sure the wireless card's not rolling on top of it too. Okay, set that aside. And then we'll get the bezel. Line this back up, okay. Get that in. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and go for the top first. And push on the outer edge. Don't push on the middle, okay? And that will cause the clip to kind of just rotate into place on its own. Okay, so just go on the outer edge, just like that. You can hear it clicking into place. Right, then these, you just push down, pinch it, the two layers together like that, okay? Just like that, and then you can run your finger along the middle, make sure everything's good, all right? There's no clips up there. All right, now we got these, okay? Again, you want the part with that little change, the flat part going towards the bottom of the screen. So get that, line it up, make sure this cable is lined up as well, okay? Let me see, did it have to go on top? I think it goes in front of the hinge, not on top of this. It goes towards the front inside of the screen. Okay, line that up and then push that all into place. There we go, click it all down, looks good. Get the other one, same thing. Okay. Get this, line it up. Make sure again that the cables are in the front. Okay. Then line it up, click it down, there we go. All right, so now all that's left is to reassemble this, power it on, and hopefully everything's good to go. All right, so same like before, we'll rotate the screen over this way. Okay, gotta be careful with the wireless card. And we're gonna tilt this up, okay? Be careful, you don't wanna pinch the speakers. So we'll tilt this up, line this into place, get that in, and then carefully slowly lower it down. Make sure the hinge doesn't hit anything. Okay, make sure this is flush together, and then again where it connects to the other hinge, that's where you want to rotate it. Okay, like that. Make sure you line it up. There's some raised plastic bits there. Make sure those go into the right spot. Same thing with this one. Okay, rotate that down. Make sure it's all lined up. If it doesn't line up and it doesn't go in, you can lift it slightly to get it to line up and then push it down as you drop it. All right. Okay, so there we go. Let's go ahead and put the hinge screws back in. Not many. There's this one. Okay, and to make it easier, we're gonna put the wireless card antennas after the speaker connector. So we're gonna just plug the speaker connector in first, and then hopefully we can still just route the wireless antennas easily. Okay, so we'll get that. Got these two. This one and this one. Alright, so let's go ahead and zoom in a bit. Sorry if it was so far and hard to see, but let's see here. Okay, so we got the speaker cable here. Just route it around this, like that. Okay, have that cable go there. This lines up, line it up, and then just click it down into place. There we go. Alright, the wireless antenna is here. Okay, so just have it route back over like before. Alright. Alright, and then get these cables in, push them down into place. There we go. Get that in, route it over there. This one goes straight, then goes around here. Okay, and then this curves around. Oh, maybe that's why this needs to go first. All right, then we're gonna try and pull the speaker cables out of the way and then get that behind it. I guess the speaker cable wants to go first. All right, get those in. And I guess the speaker cable will kind of just hold it into place like that. Okay, I'm gonna have it split like that there. And then here, and then go under this. Okay, again, split here. Don't have to do it that way. That's just how I'm doing it, right? And then this can tuck under there. And then wireless card, line up. Goes in at an angle slightly. Push that in. Lower this down. You can make sure this tucks over there. Now we just need to get this little bracket back on top. Make sure you don't twist this backwards. This has a little piece that goes down behind the screw and the wireless card. Okay, you don't want it going into this wireless card itself. All right, then we'll tighten this. I like to hold this so it doesn't spin around. Okay, and then try and get it as straight as possible. There we go. All right, so wireless card is in. Now the battery. Oh wait, not the battery yet. If you accidentally plug the battery in, you're gonna have to open the laptop, press and hold the power button 15 seconds before you do this. All right, make sure this latches up. Get that at an angle. Push that in. Make sure both wings, you can see there's the little white part of the connector or the socket. Make sure that's visible on both sides, because if it's crooked like this and you power it on, you're gonna fry your screen, backlight circuit, cable, all this kind of stuff can get damaged. All right, make sure that's all the way in. Hold it in place, slide your finger over to latch it down, and there we go. All right, now the battery. Okay, pull this back slightly, line it up. Make sure this goes in straight. You don't want to plug it in crooked like this. Okay, make sure it's going in straight. Okay, I've had a customer try and push it in crooked and they bent the pins inside. That was terrible. All right, now with your thumbs and then your fingers, pinch and pull the whole thing in at the same time. There you go. All right, we're gonna zoom out now, get the bottom cover back on, power it up, and see what we got. Hopefully everything is working well. This battery also acts as a CMOS BIOS RTC real-time clock battery, so keep that in mind, because once you reset that, then the BIOS is going to reset, or once you pull the battery out, the BIOS is going to reset, and that can cause the computer to take a while to boot up. So the screw mount here and here both are broken, actually, not just the one. So I think the small piece actually came from here, but yeah, those little pieces are gone now. So we'll just put the screws back in. All right, tighten that in all the way. Good. Make sure everything's clicked in. Get this. I like to twist it backwards if you haven't noticed. You hear it click and then tighten it down. Okay, make sure everything's good. All right, then we'll get the screw in back here, even though it's not really holding anything now because that plastic is broken. Okay, get that. Get the side screws here. It's mostly held in with the clips now. Okay, we get all of these. All right, now we got the 3 screws here. We'll get those in as well. And then we'll power it up. Hopefully their battery was charged enough that it will turn on and I don't need to plug it in. And the last screw. There we go. All right, let's flip this over, power it up, and see what we got. All right. Oh, this one doesn't have any keyboard backlight, so the only thing you can tell is the caps lock light. I don't know if you can see that. It's on right now. Okay, usually if everything is correct, the caps lock light is eventually going to shut off and then turn back on, shut off and turn back on. Just leave it sitting. The computer can sometimes, oh, actually it turned on pretty quick. Sometimes it can take a very long time, like several minutes. So don't panic, shut it off, because then you can actually damage the computer that way. All right, you can see it worked, and there we go. All right, so it's good. Oh, it is touchscreen. Okay, we're gonna restart one time. Usually after replacing any major components, I like to restart the computer once, because Microsoft has this new fast startup thing that kind of causes some issues when you do some big hardware changes. So just do that restart and you should be good to go. All right, hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. And if it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Right? If you can't help out that way, it would help a lot if you could watch a few of my other videos and like and comment on those as well, because that's what the algorithm likes to see. And if you really, really want to help my channel grow, or help me grow in general, I have another channel called It's Been Reviewed, which has the same profile picture but zoomed in closer. And yeah, if you could follow that or subscribe to that channel as well. I need to hit 500 subscribers and that'll be great. All right, thanks for watching again, and I'll see you on the next one. Let's drop this. Bye.